Mental health is one of the greatest challenges facing returning soldiers, but a deadly combination of indifference, stigma, red tape, and government dysfunction are to blame for the sobering numbers. Amid the echoes of battle and the invisible wounds of war, a glimmer of hope emerges. TADSAW Incorporated is a compassionate force dedicated to supporting wounded veteran service members. Marching forward with unwavering determination, they bring forth a transformative solution for those grappling with military induced anxiety depression syndrome, post traumatic stress disorder, traumatic brain injury. And in the chaos of these conditions, a beacon of solace shines brightly in the form of a medical alert service dog, a loyal and intuitive companion poised to restore and elevate the lives of these brave veterans. Hi, I'm Tej, bringing you stories of inspiration and hope. With a global audience and altruistic conversations with phenomenal leaders, Chizuba Talks is at the forefront of nonprofit interactions. Today's changemaker is Bart Sherwood, the founder and CWO. What is CWO? Chief Whatever Officer is Bart. Welcome to the podcast, Bart.
Tej, thank you, and thank you for having me and calling and doing this interview. I will make one note though. When you said TADSAW Incorporated, the actual abbreviation
Uh
for incorporated is capital I, small n, small c.
huh.
In TADSAW's case, it's a capital I, capital N, capital C, which is
Hmm.
an acronym for a Latin phrase which is illegitimi non carbundum. And anybody who looks up the Latin phrase will understand why I chose Inc. because of the fact it goes. We are a nonprofit organization, so yes, we are an incorporated, but the INC really is for illegitimate non-carbundum, which basically just put straightforward says, don't let the person get you down, no matter who it is. They may try to get you down because of your medical condition, but you stand strong because you're not going to take it from them. So that's what that INC stands for, and it's one of Tatsaw's little hidden, words that are found there. But thank
That
you
is
very much
beautiful.
for the introduction, and and we'll get to PTSD. Matter of fact, I believe it's the 30th of June is PTSD Awareness Month.
Ah,
And
okay.
I thanked everybody and on our website and our Facebook about,
Hmm.
having Tapsall's work finally being appreciated by having an awareness day for it because to us, PTSD stands for Participant Trained Service Dog.
Ah.
And it's a whole new look at things because of the fact uh, you just don't look at it like that. And like I say, when you're trying to destigmatize a lot of the conditions, a lot of the feelings of the conditions that are going on with people, if you can start destigmatizing it, more people will
Mhm.
come out of the woodwork to get assistance because it's no longer looks down on them.
Hmm.
A couple of years ago, I had a dream. I was standing in an airport. Somebody was talking to me, and they want to know why is TATSAW so prevalent? Why is it so looked on as a great organization or a program? And what's so different about it? And I said, well, it's easy. It's a participant trained service dog program. And
Hmm.
I just jumped up out of bed at 3 o'clock in the morning, went to my computer, wrote it down, participant trained service dog, and sent it off to the people who do my whiteboard videos about I've got a new meaning for it, and it just made so much sense to do that. And I had a friend that wrote a book called PTS Dog, and I said, Joaquin, I said, what does PTSD stand for?
Hmm.
We've been doing this since 2010. It's been a phrase that's been around. He says, "Oh, Bart, come on, you know." I said, "No, seriously, what does it stand for?"
Hmm.
He said, "Post-traumatic stress disorder." Are you sure? Your book is PTS Dog. So you wrote the book. Is that what you think it is? Post-traumatic stress disorder or post-traumatic dog? He said, "Well, yeah." I said, "Have you ever thought of it as being participant trained service dog?" And you could hear his head being slapped like, oh my God, I never thought of it. Here we are, it was in 2021, 11 years into a program. and you finally start finding out the pieces are, and now you can start changing. Now maybe we can start changing the culture a little bit, changing the words, because that way people who are in the military, they don't have to talk about post-traumatic stress disorder. They can seek help by saying it's military induced. Uh,
Mm.
Children that are victims of racism, women from domestic violence or men of domestic violence or sexual abuse, no longer do they have to look at it as a post-traumatic stress disorder. They can look at it as it's an environmental induced, behavior induced anxiety, depression. And so by doing it that way, you start bringing people that I'm still the same person I am, but nobody's going to look at me that, oh, that's that person and they're mentally ill. There are
Right. There's no
definitely a lot
stigma
of people
attached.
that have mental health, mental illness issues, and they are going to be helped
Mm-hmm.
with the drugs. And the drugs are just not going to work for a lot of behavior induced, climate induced, uh, however you want to say induced anxiety, depression exists. And so by
True.
changing the feel a little bit, you start getting better results from the patients, the clients that are out there. And so, we feel that this program, I mean, it's worldwide. It should be. I mean, it shouldn't be something that's hidden away and taken advantage and say, "Well, I can make a lot of money. I'm a nonprofit. It's going to be this." And sometimes you just kind of do things that's right for mankind. We're so bad about not treating each other well that we start forgetting, and it all becomes based on how much money is involved. And
True. Everything is
nonprofits
commercial.
should be involved in making a difference, not a profit. Uh, so
Very
I
true.
feel like, this when I got your email, is like, yes, because there are people in Turkey, there are people in India where there are earthquake regions, and these people, when they know the weather or there's a problem coming, they're anxious. There's survivors of
Hmm.
earthquakes, the first
It's a
responders that
natural,
go and
yes.
toil through the rubble, trying to find lots, trying to rescue people, and not just bring them up and for burial. I mean, these are people that are involved in life conditions that they have true problems and memories of the horrificness of death. And if a dog can alert them when they start getting a memory and bring them back from the memory so they can handle it, it makes that first responder that much better. I mean, they
Correct.
use dogs to seek out, so these dogs that seek, survivors and rebels, they're also there that they bring that worker back to focus. Yes, we're here now. So you don't have to think about that, because these, when they're going to the rebel, is when all the memories come up. How much death destruction am I going to see? Once they're there working, their adrenaline
Hmm.
kicks into, it's a job, we're going to do it, I'm not going to have a memory of it, that's all, everything is wiped out from the
Hmm.
past, I'm here in the present now, this is what I have to take care of. When they leave that accident scene, the rubbles, that's when they start having their memories. So if they can
Right.
learn that, yes, having that dog there to alert them, that, hey, you're starting to go back, come back, they can start handling these memories. So
Hmm.
it's about anybody who has need of it, whether it's in Turkey, whether it's in Russia, whether it's in China, whether it's wherever, South
Any.
America, Africa, it's just the fact that it's something that is easily done, that's repeatable, and it's just opening it up to the world. And like I said, this was a chance to go ahead and get on a forum and and say something
To
about it.
start this, yeah, wonderful. That's such a beautiful thought. When you say people not get into that stigma of PTSD, and PTSD is, uh, say that again, trained service dog,
Post traumatic stress, well,
post
participant trained service dog
participant
is what
trained
we call
service
it.
dog. That is so beautiful. Let's take a break to understand what Chizuba is. Everyone at some point ponders on how this beautiful life can be made more meaningful. Maybe you're a leader trying to enhance your employees' experience at your organization. Or you already work for the community and seek volunteers with state of the art skills to strengthen your nonprofit. Whatever your situation, know that you can make a difference. Chizuba began with this very vision, a vision to facilitate every skill and every passion in the world in meeting a social need. Corporate volunteering has several benefits for both businesses and organizations. In parallel, Experienced and enthusiastic volunteers join NGO workers, enabling them to serve the community more effectively. Chizuba offers everyone looking to add purpose and meaning to their lives a chance to connect or volunteer virtually with nonprofit organizations from over 100 countries around the world. Visit www.chizuba.net and explore opportunities to find meaning. Chizuba, your platform to do good. And now, back with our guest. Now let's talk about the dogs. Where do you get the dogs from? Are these rescue dogs, or these are, you know,
We use a lot of shelter dogs, rescue
shelter
dogs.
dogs? Mhm.
One, they're looking for a job to do, and uh, you just
Are
have to
all of
evaluate them
them
correctly for their temperament and personality. Not every dog's going to make a service dog,
exactly? Yes.
and it doesn't matter whether they're a purebred dog coming out of a purebred litter. It doesn't make a difference. Each individual dog has their own affinity for that human canine gene. And when you
Mm-hmm.
have that dog that has that high affinity for the human canine gene, they're meant to be a service dog. Yes, you can train
Mm-hmm.
dogs to do sit down, stay, leave it, a lot of obedience things. You can teach a dog to do a lot of tasks. Teaching a dog to bond to that human and be part of them and alert them, that's the tough part. Not every dog wants it. A lot of dogs will start to bond, and whether they're rescue or purebreds, or most of the rescues, purebreds end up in a rescue anyway, and because nobody took the time to work with them. But it's a service dog is born. You can train them for the obedience levels, you can train them for tasks, but for that ability to really seek that human quality, that human smell out, that's the dog that really makes a service dog, and everything else just goes very easy. Uh, and we use positive reinforcement. We don't use any type of balance type training using a mechanical or negative type training techniques, because this dog has to have what I call willful disobedience.
Right.
The dog has to be able to nudge you with their nose if they smell that you have adrenaline or cortisol, or your neurotransmitter, your blood sugars are changing, or you're being uh, triggered for a seizure. They have to be able to have that willful disobedience that goes ahead and puts their foot or paw or nudge you with their nose or look at you and bark to get your attention. By teaching the person to be proactively responsive to that dog's body language, then you're going to go ahead and start saying, okay, he's alerting me. Is it my blood sugar, or is it my seizure, or whatever is happening? Let me go ahead and just checklist it off. If you have diabetes, then you check your blood sugar. It's just going to give you a level where you're at right then and there. And then you go back and check it in 5 or 10 minutes, and you see that you're starting to drop. And it's like, okay, well, let me get a glass of orange juice now, and I'll take care of it. Whereas if you didn't use a dog and you were waiting, you'd get that pang of stabbing hunger in your stomach because you need something. That's your low blood sugar, and so it can actually alert you a lot sooner than your own body system reacting. Even with the continuous glucose monitors and the insulin pumps they have, the dog is able to pick up several points sooner than the machinery does.
Correct.
So,
Yeah.
when the dog can alert you and you can use everything a little bit better and faster, then you're going to be in better control of your medical condition. It's not
Right.
to replace a doctor, it's not to replace drugs, it's to make
No.
better use, to be more
To
efficient.
preempt. Yes, to
And I
preempt
think
the
that's
situation.
the fear of humans, is that the dog is going to replace me. And it's like, not really,
Not
but
really.
he's going to make your job a lot better because your patient is being better taken care of.
Absolutely. Yes.
So,
Yes.
that's the way you have to look at it. But the dog picks up on the smell. There's two methodologies of training of service dogs. One is the seeing eye dog method, in which you take away all the dog's special abilities uh, to just be able to focus on going from point A to point B by smelling. So a dog who can't walk past the trash can without putting his nose in it, drops out of a seeing eye program. And I would say 99% of the service dog organizations utilize that methodology of having a perfectly trained dog to do things. Once the patient is matched with the dog and the patient is in the middle of his medical condition, he alerts he calls the dog to go ahead and be interactive with him. The unfortunate part is then you're at the fight or flight, the situation of at the threshold of being in the middle of your panic attack, and you're teaching your dog to alert you there,
Mm,
which is
mm,
nice. But that means every time you're triggered, you're going to spend 5 to 10, 12 minutes getting to the middle of the panic attack before you use your dog. The other way of doing it is, and I look at it as the therapy dog model, is therapy dogs go and visit people in hospitals and clinics, and they have a handler. Okay, and the handler is trained to read the dog's body language so they can interact and interpret the interaction they're going to have with the
mm.
person in the hospital, the client.
Correct.
And by teaching, and so the handler has to understand what the dog's body language is. By teaching the veteran or client to be the dog handler of the therapy dog team, when they are triggered for their own medical condition, the dog's going to interact with them right then and there, 1 to 3 minutes. And by teaching them to be proactively responsive to the dog, now they are the client that the dog is interacting with, but it's their service dog because they're the patient. So you're talking about teaching them a whole new way of learning how to read their dog's body language. And
Mm,
so this way, when they are triggered, the dog's alerting them within 1 to 3 minutes. They're proactively responsive 3 to 5 minutes in releasing oxytocin. And so the wait from the 5 to 12 minutes for that threshold to be reached before they get to the middle of that panic, their medical condition, is basically shortened, and now you're in charge of those demons. You're in charge of that medical condition, and you're not being held hostage anymore. So, a person who has epilepsy, seizures, if they're driving and their dog interacts with them, they can pull over to the side of the road because now they're being alerted. They can go ahead and turn the vehicle off, put it in park, turn the vehicle off, call whoever they need to call and say, "Hey, buddy just told me, alerted me that I may be having a seizure." It may be a seizure, it
mm,
may be a panic attack. You don't know, but you know that something is wrong. And you sit
mm,
there for 5 to 10 minutes focusing on the dog. And after about 12 minutes, you have a shaking feel, like a little shudder in your body, which probably was a seizure that didn't happen. But then again, you didn't have a
mm.
car wreck. You didn't get killed or kill somebody.
Exactly.
If it wasn't
Yes.
that and it was just a memory, you're going to have, oh, well, it made me think of that. You go ahead and get on the phone and say, hey, I got through it. It was just an anxiety attack, but
Mm,
I'm safe. I'm getting ready to drive now and go on, because now you've basically eliminated or minimized your medical condition down to something that you can handle. And
absolutely.
if it was a
Yes.
seizure, you're calling them, say, "Hey, I'm fine now. I feel good. It was a shudder, so I'm sure it's my seizure, but I'm safe now." And because you don't have to wait that 45 minutes to 4 to 5 hours to get out of that
Mm,
medical condition.
right.
So
But
the
how,
dog gives you the ability. Yes, go ahead. I'm sorry. I'm sorry I
sorry.
ramble.
So how long does this training take? Is it 4 weeks, 16 weeks?
It's
How
as
much
long
time
as
does
it
it
takes.
take?
We say usually 20 to 25 weeks. It just depends on the
Okay.
person, and they're working with their dog daily, several times a day. It's up to
Right.
them. We feel that when they're ready to graduate and they can go out and take care of the dog and refocus the dog through what we call a public access temperament test, then they're ready.
Do you also
But
have
it's
follow
making
up?
sure that.
Do you also have follow up or support services after the dog is placed with the veteran?
Well, no, no, no. There is no follow up
You don't.
because the dog's
Okay.
not placed with the veteran. The dog is trained with the veteran. So it's not that we're training
Correct.
the dog and giving it to
Yeah.
somebody, and then they have to learn
Mm,
how to read the dog. They go through from day one with the dog. This way, they're training the dog
mm,
24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Because
mm,
when they have a nightmare, okay, the dog wakes them up, brings them out of the
mm,
nightmare to their reality that they're in the bed. Well, that's a training session.
mm,
And so you're really working 24/7 with the dog. So you go over the obedience on a daily basis. When you take your dog for a walk, you're making sure he's following the obedience lessons. You're taking him
mm,
out into other areas, socialization, so he's
mm.
appropriately behaved at in public. And it's the two of you are becoming a team. So it could take
Right.
20 weeks, 25 weeks, could take 40 weeks. It just depends what kind of task the person wants. And if somebody has limited abilities, let's say like a patient with cerebral palsy, the third
Mm,
person that has cerebral palsy, there's nothing wrong except that he has bad neuromuscular tendencies. There's something
True.
that's missing. So, but it also gives them a chance to go ahead and be productive and do something. And if they need help with a family member going through the training, well, that's fine. Then the dog is there to be their service dog to get stuff if they drop it, to alert them when they're having a condition, an anxiety attack or whatever. So it's about teaching the team, the dog, the patient, and the family member who's going to be there that has to take care of them.
Mhm.
Autism, a child who's severely autistic, he doesn't have to get in the middle of an autistic episode before
Mhm.
somebody's able to help him. If the dog picks up on it, they can go ahead and teach the child, okay, your dog's pushing on you. Go ahead and play with Buddy, put your arms around him. When he
Mhm.
does it, just don't push him away that nothing's wrong. Because when the
Mhm.
dog's alerting you, you don't think something's wrong. You have no idea that you were triggered. That doesn't happen for
Right.
5 to 12 minutes. But if you can go ahead and be
Mhm.
alerted to go ahead and start minimizing that episode, then you're in
Mhm.
control of the situation. That helps the parent so the child's not going on the floor and banging his head against the floor and hurting himself, you
Right.
know? And
Now,
so
this
you're
is
able to
part,
have that extra. Go ahead.
sorry. So, this is the part where the dog is taking care of the patient. Uh, I'm sure the patients are also taking care of the dogs, but do you have
Mhm.
situations where, a follow up for the health of the dog? Because the dog also requires maintenance, or it requires health and well being, in terms of
Well,
vaccinations or
that's all that's
taking
during the
care of.
training to learn how to take care of their dog. Right.
Okay, okay. So
So if
they,
there is a problem, they'll contact the trainer or they'll contact me to go ahead and get back with the trainer. If the dog's having a situation that was not encountered
hmm.
when they were going through the training,
Uh-huh.
it's not that the dog's not well trained. It may be let's retrain the person a little bit to understand what's going on. He
Right.
may have missed something and now it's just go ahead and because the dog is working with a person 20, this is where I say it's very few of these dogs, there's
Hmm.
only certain dogs that make service dogs, is
Yes.
that that's a lot of stress on a dog to have
That's
to
what,
take care of a
yes.
person, take care of everything around them in their comfort zone, and then they have to be a dog. And so
Mhm.
some of them may last 2, 3, 4 years, some of them may last 10 years. Uh, but it's the fact that that's all the dog could last. But if you teach the person to train the dog or the family member to help train the dog, then when that time comes, you're able to train your next dog and you don't have to come back to class because you've already been involved in training the dog. And if you
Mhm.
need more help, well, yes, come back and we're going to help you. We're not trying to get out of doing the job. We just want the person to feel that now you're in charge.
They're
You tell
taken
me
care
what
of.
you need.
Mhm.
And I do have some veterans that have gone on with their second dog and they've done a great job. And I've got some veterans, it's like, well, didn't you learn anything about how to train a dog? Well, yeah, but I kind of forgot. It's like, okay, well, let's go ahead and let's see where you're at, but you have to come in, having worked your dog. Just don't say, well, I'll just wait for somebody else to do it because that's not the way you
Mhm.
move forward in
Mhm.
life. So,
Mhm.
it's about giving that person, giving back them their self confidence, their self trust, their self esteem, and really that's part of human nature no matter what you're no matter where you're from, you know part of the world, that's all human nature, that's self-confidence, self-esteem, self-trust, and that's what gets lost or broken along the way.
Absolutely. So, Bart, tell us, how can somebody who wants to support TADSAW help out? What are the opportunities or ways to contribute to your organization?
Usually, because we don't have a facility, this is the facility, this is the place. But most of my trainers don't have a building. They train out of their house. They meet the clients in a dog park or a secluded area, or they go to some work some of the dog friendly businesses. So really, we don't have needs for capital campaigns. Most of it is we buy the vest and give them to the patients, the clients. The reason I call them patients is I'm a pharmacist, so all of my customers, retail customers, were patients. So I still go back to the pharmacy part of it, calling them patients. But the client, so uh, being able to support it, is really the monetary, donation is really the most important to us because that gives us the ability to, whether it's buying vests or trying to put something together. I work with several other nonprofits that help pay for major veterinary insurance, veterinary bills, things like this,
Hmm.
in case
Hmm.
the patient can't afford it. As far as the upkeep of the dog, we expect that to be, the same as if it was your personal dog. I would love to get, the ability. I was working with an organization looking at an insurance policy that could cover everybody. Just everybody would pay the same deductible, just having a fund in there, that could afford the insurance. Whether it was a Yorkie Terrier or a Great Dane, they paid the same amount of money for insurance.
Oh, that's nice.
So it was one price, and then they all paid the same deductible. Because a lot of people can't afford that insurance. So we were trying to put together a program that would be funded, for somebody who said, okay, yeah, I'd like to put, this amount of money, and this is how many people will cost, and this is what it will be, a yearly deal. And, if you start off with enough seed money, you can go ahead and just have the interest start paying off, and adding back. So, that would be a
Hmm.
long term thing, is to be able to have a global health thing for anybody who had a service
Right,
dog through our program.
right.
And then, like I
For
said,
your
it's just trying to, but monetary is just getting on the website and making a donation, things like
yes,
that. And,
yes.
you know,
You
uh,
do have a good
and there's
website.
enough dogs running around. People don't have to donate to dogs they don't want anymore.
So yes, your website is pretty comprehensive. I love the visualizations, the whiteboard visualizations that you have, self-explanatory about the work that you are doing. But in case you need any help, you have Chazuba to ask. You just have to post your requirement there, and you can get virtual help for whatever you require. Well, Bart, you are doing extraordinary work. You are helping veterans in their boundless canine companionship, and you are on this profound mission of healing and forging a path towards renewed purpose and joy. Thank you very much for sharing your
Well,
story.
thank,
And if
well, thank
you
you.
care to share your social handles here,
The what?
would you like to share your social handles here?
What do you
Your
mean?
Facebook, LinkedIn,
Oh,
Instagram,
well, we have
maybe?
train a dog, save a warrior, and then we have LinkedIn, and they're all available. They're on our website. They're also there. The one thing, I started several months ago was when we brought everybody into where there's no charge for a service dog. I asked the
Uh-huh.
question: is it train a dog, save a warrior, or train a dog, save a world? And this podcast is bringing it to the realization, maybe it isn't just train a dog, save a warrior. Maybe it is really train a dog and save a world. And whatever we
Absolutely.
can do to make this world better place to, let's talk about our similarities, because we all have differences and there's never going to be taken care of, but our similarities is
Yes.
what we should be really building relationships on, and moving forward with the world and helping everybody. It's
Yeah. Thank you, Bart.
because,
That is really beautiful. And I wish there were more people like you in this world.
well, it'd be better. I don't know. I mean, if they all had initials of BS, it'd be a really tough type of world. It's like I tell my
You,
veterans, I don't take a lot from people, because I figure Bart Sherwood's enough BS for the entire program. So, don't con a con man. Don't try to, do it. But but I appreciate you having me. I appreciate the talk, and thank you very much for the and people can just reach out and contact me. I answer my phone 24/7, 365. And when I tell people that, I really mean it. It's an honor and
you're,
privilege to be able to help people. And I think that's really what we need to be looking at. And let's see, do I have a coin here? Where's my, I should have a coin in my pocket. All right.
Mhm.
Here we go. There we are. This is the TADSAW coin. Let's see. I don't know if we can see it clearly.
Ah,
Uh,
yes, yes.
yeah, it
Oh,
says
that is
participant
beautiful.
trained service dog, and then on the back of it, it's TADSAW, train a dog, save a word. And that's the colonel. That was my service dog. So
That's amazing. That is
We
beautiful
have that. We
indeed.
want to. So I wanted to memorize the PTSD definitely on a challenge coin because in the military, that's one of their big things is getting a challenge coin, uh, with their name on it. This is team number
Mhm.
one,
Well,
and now we're at team
wonderful.
number 14, 16 today. So uh, we're very proud of the work that the our veterans have done,
14,
the dogs
16.
and the trainers, because they're the ones that make
It's
me
quite a
look like,
number.
you know, I'm the smart one here, and I'm just the guy who answers the phone. I'm the CWO, like you said, chief whatever officer.
Whatever officer. Yeah, but that chief whatever officer is very, very important. Well, Bart, thank you. Goodbye.
Guys, thank you very much, and if you need anything else, please feel free to reach out. And I apologize for being late. So, but better late than never.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.